Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Friedman Adventures. It is great, as always, to be with you all. I'll remind you all to subscribe while you're on YouTube and click that little bell so we can notify you when a new show goes up. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook. If freshwater happens to be your thing, then same thing for Bass Bros. You can go to Facebook, Instagram, and of course YouTube. Special day here today. Well, I'll tell you what, Gerry, Mahieu, it is such a pleasure to welcome you.
Thank you.
How are you, my friend?
I'm really good.
Man,
I'm good.
It's good to see you. And
yeah,
we're going to talk bass because that's your thing, right?
You know, to be honest with you, freshwater bass, my roots, saltwater bass, put a lot of time in that. And I love fishing offshore too. So I do everything.
Man, we're going to talk about everything.
I do a bit of everything. How long do we got?
We got as long as you want to go. We'll keep Steve here till midnight.
All right.
He loves it when we do that.
I got dinner plans later, so I'm good for a while. So.
All right, so I did want to talk, and we're going to also talk about Daiwa. I think you're a Daiwa guy, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and Daiwa is such great gear, isn't it?
It is. You know, it's easy for me to say it's the best.
Yeah.
I fished with everything. You know, when I hooked up with Daiwa way back when, I was still fishing Shimano stuff, and they make great stuff too. But I'll tell you what, it seems the last 4 or 5, maybe 6 years, they've really taken leaps and bounds. They're a global company, and everything they make is fantastic.
We'll talk about more specifically some of that gear. Gerry, how did you get hooked on fishing? How did that happen?
Are you kidding me? We used to take family vacations up the California coast, good old Highway 5, all the way into Oregon, Washington, almost to Canada, in our old 70 Suburban.
Wow.
My 2 brothers, myself, and my parents. And we would stop along at little ponds, catch crappie, bass. We fished this lake called Silver Lake when I was a kid up in Washington. Lily pads everywhere. I mean, it was like a bass fisherman's dream.
Yeah.
And back then, the fun thing to do was fish these weedless, double-hooked floating worms over the lily pads, and, kaboom. And I was just a little kid, and I tell you what, I know the first time my parents put a rod in my hand, my eyes just kind of got all big, and my dad went, "Oh, shoot, man.
We're creating a monster.
We're in trouble." Yeah. But I'm telling you, on one of those camp trips, quick little story, my older brother and my dad, my older brother didn't want me tagging along. Older brothers don't want their younger brothers.
How much older is he?
5 years older.
Okay, yeah.
So not a lot, but enough.
Enough where, yeah.
Yeah, I never really hung out with he and his buddies, as we got older. But my younger brother and I, we're 3 years difference. We were real tight. But anyway, I can remember this one night camping, and at probably 4:35 in the morning, I hear something, and I'm like, "What was that?" And I don't see my dad or my brother in the tent, and I look out, and they are pushing the Suburban out of the campsite in neutral. They start the thing up, and all I see is taillights leaving the campground. I was so upset, man. I cried for like 5 hours.
Yeah.
They ditched me to go fishing without me that day.
Oh, man, that hurt.
And I'll never forgive them, but all I wanted to do was fish, man.
How many years ago was that? You still remember it, huh?
I'm 56, so that was probably 50 years ago.
Does that still hurt a little bit?
Still hurts. I'm still pissed.
Did they catch anything? Or?
Of course they did. Back then, fishing's wide open.
Man, I was hoping maybe the karma came back and got them.
No, of course I heard stories. Oh, your brother lost a giant one, and they were busting everywhere. And so I swore to my dad, I said, "Hey, please don't ever ditch me again."
Yeah, right.
I'm going with you. So
all these decades later, and you still remember how you got started in this.
Oh.
I'm worried about something, and that is I don't know that families do that kind of stuff anymore. A lot of kids are looking at phones and computers, and they are not getting out in nature. And I think it has a detrimental effect on adolescents as they grow up, don't you?
It's kind of sad. I think the youth of today is really missing out. I have to say, my boys, I have just turned 25 the other day.
Yeah.
And 27-year-old boys. I've also got 3 stepkids. My boys, when they were 6 months old, I was guiding on Lake Mission Viejo. I had them in a car carrier. And I'd be out on Lake Mission Viejo fishing all day, feed him his bottle. I'd bring, formula. And he loved being in the boat. He'd rock, and I'd pick him up, take my breaks, and take care of my baby in the boat. And since I can remember, and they can remember, we've always camped, hunted, fished. we do everything, and we would take their friends along with us, and still to this day, these friends of theirs say, man, I never get to go anywhere, and I never camped, I never did anything. You guys are so lucky. Bay of LA trips when they were 8 and 10 years old. Had them do their hunter safety course when they were 8 and 10 years old, and they passed that test. That was a really long day at Rohagi's there. I swear, I think I said when they passed, we're going to Disneyland, but we went to In-N-Out, and it was just awesome. They passed their test, and so we've always been involved with shooting and fishing, and it's super important. And even my stepkids, I've got dozens and dozens of pictures and great experiences with them, fishing, taking the girls to Catalina with their friends. Just, you know what, it's something you don't forget, and it's a real value that a lot of kids are missing out on these days.
I agree. Now we've got this COVID thing going on, and kids are not in school, and a lot of them are locked up. And if depends on where you shop for statistics. Statistics are, but some stats are saying that suicide among kids that are young is up 100%, and I think it's because they are locked up and they're not socializing and everything. I'm not making any determination on COVID policy or anything on it. I'm just trying to point out how important it is to get outdoors.
You know what? You got to let your brain free. And when you're stuck inside, or you're stuck in front of your tablet or your phone, your brain is not getting to feel, what this world is about. And, I'm sure when you were a kid too, you went out and explored. My mom used to drop me off at some of the city parks and lakes at 4:30. My mom would say, hey, Gerry, what time you want to go fish tomorrow? How about 4:30? Well, it's still dark. It's okay. And I'd meet my buddy or my buddies at the lake, and my mom would pull me up, drop me off, and have to sit in the parking lot till it turned light. But I tell you what, all the exploring, catching crawdads, fishing all day, watching the ducks, and I mean, you learn so much on hands-on experience. Just being outdoors is it's so good for your brain.
It's top notch. Same thing with me. Although I didn't have to ask my mom to take me. She would drop me off at Redondo Pier. She pretty much wanted me to go. So she said, you're going fishing tomorrow. I'm getting you out of my hair.
That's funny.
And actually, I think it kind of worked pretty good, because we'd spend 12, 13 hours down there, man. Get baked in the sun, trying to catch those big giant bonita on a slider rig that you'd slide down in those days. And I can remember not being able to sleep at night, just thinking about the next day.
Wait to go again?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I used to take the OCTD, Orange County Transit District, the bus to Seal Beach, the warm water bridge when I was a kid. I'd get my pack of frozen chovies, and, man, I'd head over the bridge, and all my buddies and everyone else was going to the beach, and by the end of the day, I'd hop on a bus, stinky like you know what, and all these cute girls on the bus look at me like going, ew. I didn't care. Yeah. I just fished all day, and I'm going again tomorrow.
Right,
so
exactly.
Summers they seem to last forever, but you could never get to the next day soon enough because you couldn't wait to go again.
Did you feel like that bond with your dad and your family was made stronger by the outdoors and fishing, and same thing with your kids now? Do you feel that way?
Absolutely. I have experiences, with my dad. Yeah, God, my dad, he's so funny. Here's one. Back when there was no, weather forecast, nothing like that, he's taking me out to San Nicolas Island. And I found out.
On his own boat?
No, on the overnight boats.
Oh, yeah.
On the all-day boats. And I just found out recently he used to take me so he could bring home 50 rockfish, not 25. And I would get seasick sometimes, and to still this day, I just go, really? You had to do that? Yeah, but you loved it. Yeah, but Dad, I got seasick, And
too bad.
And those trips are great, but
take one for the team,
all
kid.
His work buddies, they loved me on the boat. I was the only kid. And, but yeah, even my kids, I've got memories with my boys, Bay of LA trips, and it's great. Yeah, I think my parents have always supported my fishing.
You and I parallel each other a lot here. I hear a lot of what's going on. And you mentioned Bay of LA twice, so I want to hear a little bit about you taking your kids down there when they're 8 years old. Me too. Yeah. I took my kids to Mexico. I'll tell you about this one time. This was on a press thing, so it had nothing to do with the outdoors. It was at a time when there was a lot of cartel stuff going on at Rosarito Beach, and the hotel was absolutely vacant. The town was vacant. So, of course, I think there was 13 decapitations in Tijuana. Yeah. So I said, hey, kids, let's go to Rosarito Beach. So I remember that time. We went down there with Pete Thomas from the Los Angeles Times, and we sat in there and had a meeting with the owner of the hotel and everything else. There was just another crazy experience, but I love Mexico. I love the outdoors, and my kids love it. And I just, the cultural interchange, the fishing is so good. The food,
the people are incredible.
Yeah, what do you think?
The food, to me, the Baja Peninsula is a form of paradise. I always say to people, look, if I ever disappear, you know where I'm at.
Right there, right? See it on the wall there?
Just start looking down the desolate beaches and you'll find me.
Yeah.
I used to, my first trip to the Bay of LA, I think I was 9 or 10 years old. I had to go with parent permission slip. My best friend, his older brother took us down, and we, believe it or not, back then we used to troll yo-yo iron, Salo 6X Juniors.
Really?
We used to troll those for yellowtail. This is how long ago this was.
And get all the fish you wanted?
And slay them. It was crazy, but...
and you drove down?
We would drive down, car topper, aluminums. We had a couple 17-foot whalers.
And you were how old?
God, I don't know, 9 or 10 years
old. So that
11.
had to be just an eye-opening adventure.
Yeah, it was insane.
Another country.
It was insane. And still to this day, I run my charters during the season. I run my tournaments during the season. I'm busy fishing freshwater tournaments. When I get my time off, during the off season, I go to Gonzaga Bay. I try to go 3 times a year. I tow my boat down there. We launch, from Papa Fernandez, and we make, 30, 50-mile runs to get off the beaten path. And the fishing, quite simply, is incredible. There's nothing like it.
What are you catching down there?
Big leopard grouper. I mean, I think to this day, I think the world record leopard grouper's 22, 23, 4 pounds or something like that. But myself and some of my buddies, we've got, I think my biggest is 29 pounds.
Wow.
We have many giants. But the thing, we go down there, we're bass guys. We love to chuck and land artificials, and we cover a ton of water. So we're fishing areas that these fish never seen a lure, let alone, boats or anything. The Tony Reyes trips, I can remember passing through some of those areas when I was younger, and we'd make a one-day stop, Punta Refugio on the top of LaGuardia. Great area to fish. Sometimes we run there. But even the coastal area between Gonzaga and Bay of LA, that stretch of coast, there's nobody, in that in-between area. People just don't go there.
Right.
Even the locals, they don't use the fuel as an expense to go that far down. So you literally get into areas people have never been. God, it's incredible. It's insane. Like I say.
And how are you fishing those leopard groupers?
We're using Daiwa Alexa 400s. Our heavier setup is Alexa 400 on a Proteus 810 heavy. That thing is it's an incredible tuna rod, throwing poppers and stuff. But as far as stopping those grouper, they come up out of the rocks, kind of mop your junk and try to get back in the rocks as quick as they can. And I've got videos on my phone of me literally almost going over the rail of these things.
No way.
You kind of stand in a position where you're grinding and you get bit, and you're screaming, oh God, and and it's the first 6 or 7, 8 seconds, it's do or die. On those fish.
So give people a tip. What do you have to do? You got to turn those things right away, right?
Well, we fish 80-pound braid with single strand 58-pound wire.
Now you're talking I fish the heavy, right? You got to stop those things or you're done.
And a lot of times you feel them on the rocks. Once they get in there, the flare, you just pop them off. You can get them out. But it's I fish high speed reels, at least 7/4-1, the Alexa 400 HDs and the 8-1s. It's not about cranking power. It's more about using that 810 rod to get into them and to lift that thing and crank down. It's more of a rod deal than it would be, say, cranking where you need that leverage on tuna and stuff like that, low speeds and all that. It's more of just clearing the fish, keeping them out of there, and that 810 heavy's an incredible rod. I was telling you I caught a 29-pounder. That was on a boga
That's
grip.
amazing.
So that fish came on Alexa 300 with 65 pound, and all I fish is the J-Braid Grand in gray light. It is 4 times more resistant or abrasion resistant than any other braid. The first time they gave me they spooled me up on a couple reels. It was kind of a top secret deal when they came out with it, and my first trip using was down in the Bay of LA, or down in Gonzaga, Bay of LA area there, that part of the midriff, and I fished straight braid to my lures, and I was getting rocked, and I was able to pull a few fish out. And usually when braid hits a rock with that kind of pressure, pink, it just breaks real easy. There's no, abrasion resistance. But that J-braid Grand, I use it for tuna fishing too. If you're fishing a little bit shorter leader and those tuna tail slap in your braid, they don't break you off like they can normally with normal braid.
Yeah.
So I'm a huge user every single ocean setup, even my spinning setups for my clients when we fish yellows at the island, J-braid Grand and gray light. You'll look at every one of my saltwater reels, that's all I use. Getting those leopard grouper out of the rocks or keeping them from getting in there is the whole deal.
Do you catch and release ever? You got to eat. Well, you got to eat some of those. They're so good, aren't they?
Oh, they're delicious.
Yeah, I know.
But you cook them up and the meat seems to swell. Fish tacos, Papa Fernandez will bring in a couple of fish, and they literally bring out 2 giant plates, and you can't even make tacos your first couple pieces. You're just diving into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if we do a 5 or 6 day trip, we always save the last day to bring 6 or 8, maybe 10 fish home. That's it. We've had 80 fish, 100 plus fish days. Where we're catching, releasing everything. The yellowtail, we'll bring yellowtail in and we'll eat sashimi, and we'll eat some poke with it, or whatever. But we only bring back very little. What we want to bring home and not freeze and give away to some friends and family, and eat for 3 straight days when we get home.
God,
until we go,
so
okay,
good.
I'm good. Oh, I can wait till we go back to it again. It's crazy.
And have you taken the new road through Mexicali?
I did.
It's pretty good, isn't it?
Well, here's the thing. We it is good. We went that one year where all that hurricane, that whatever it was, that storm passed over the peninsula, and it washed out every road.
Oh, okay.
We went right after that.
Yeah.
And,
so it was a mess.
It was, talking about an adventure. We all love an adventure.
Yeah.
I took pictures of that trip going down and coming back. I've never seen roads so destroyed in my life. The bypasses, the pass-throughs, towing my Robalo with a 6-cylinder Dodge, which, by the way, has been fantastic. My truck, I can't say enough good things about that Dodge truck, but making the pass-throughs up the dirt hills without a 4x. We had one guy in our convoy with a 4x. But just making that trip, all I could say is, man, just get us there. Just get us there. I don't want to have to turn around and drive all the way back home. But we made that trip, came back, epic trip. It was so worth it, all the risk involved and, the road conditions. But since, man, they have, the roads are fantastic.
Yeah, I've heard that, man. Somebody told me 6 hours from Mexicali.
Yeah.
Down there now.
You can just blast right down there.
Yeah.
You can just blast right down there.
Jeez.
And then the final leg right there from Say Gonzaga to LA Bay. You could take that. A lot of people take that instead of going Highway 1 and going through El Rosario, California, and you can avoid all that by just taking the 5 down. And boom, and you're real close.
Easy and fast.
It's easier.
Right?
It's faster.
Yeah. What do you want to tell people about the people you've run into in Mexico? I find them to be the loveliest, warmest, most giving people that you'd ever want to meet.
That's how you would put it. They're the friendliest, most hospitable, nicest. I love how they don't wear a watch. I don't wear one either right now, and they live by the sun. It's time for a siesta. Yeah. It's time to eat. It's time to wake up, and life is very simplified down there. Family's very strong down there. It's a wonderful environment. It's like I said, it's like heaven on earth to me.
Yeah, and
I could live there tomorrow.
Me too.
Yeah, in a heartbeat.
Me too. I'm thinking about it, as a matter of fact.
I'd say it's in my plans, but not quite yet. I'm not ready to leave California. I do love California, but Baja, definitely, the peninsula is definitely an option.
And we've all run into a situation in Baja where we've got a bad tire, flat tire, or some problem, and there's always somebody there to help.
One of our trips, I think 2 trips ago, we were heading down Highway 5, and some of the Army personnel were going down in a truck, and their right rear tire, we could tell it was flat or going flat.
Yeah.
And they went around us, and no kidding, 20 minutes later, they're on the side of the road. Their tire had got torn up, got caught up in the back quarter panel, pulled that down into so we had to come along. We always go down really prepared.
Yeah.
I go down with guys that have their stuff together.
You're not going to want to invite me then.
I got their backs like they got mine. Yeah, right. I'm sure you know what's going on. So, but hey, I mean, it's a team effort. You know, we get a flat tire. We're like a NASCAR pit crew. We're done and on the road in 12, 13 minutes.
Really?
Oh yeah, yeah. Everyone gets out. One guy gets back if it's a weird blind spot area.
Yeah.
People coming.
Yep.
But it's all hands on deck, and we get that trailer spare on that thing or a truck. We're done, and we're going. We maintain radio contact. We bring little radios. But anyway, this one trip we had, so we had to come along in the truck, and we were able to bend out the fender, change out the spare tire for them. They were so stoked. They took all our names down. I don't know why. Maybe it was in case we got in trouble. They would bail us. I don't know. Yeah. But to be honest with you, I've never even had issues down there.
That's the next thing I was going to say, because me either. But man, if you read the press or you talk to, especially when you talk to people who've never gone there, they're the authorities on how dangerous it is. And you're like,
they're scared out of their wits to go.
And they've never gone. And guys like you and me who travel down there a lot will tell you.
Yeah. You were telling me you brought your boys down, and I would bring my boys down. Of course, one day they'll say, Dad, did you really just bring us down like as this buffer because they wouldn't hassle you because you got 2 young kids with you? Well, yeah, kind of, a little bit, but I really wasn't worried about it.
Yeah.
Take your time, travel during the day. Don't do dumb things, and Mexico's the best place on earth.
I'm still Patrick, my other son's not here, but there was one time there was a whole bunch of us, my wife Ruth and Philip and Patrick, and we were walking across Revolution Boulevard in Tijuana, and some guy came out of like a bar, Mexican guy, and he grabbed Patrick by the hand, and he goes, "Come on, let's go." And he made eye contact with me, so it wasn't like he was. And I go, yeah, go ahead. And so we fought, and then he got him on one of those mechanical bulls inside, and he's freaking having just an awesome time. But Patrick was like, "Were you letting him kidnap me?" Yeah, it didn't work out the way I wanted it to, actually.
You're still with me, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, you and I have that love for Mexico. Yeah, that's why we got right behind me here. You see the peninsula.
There it is. Yeah.
You look at that. Doesn't it just warm your heart?
The coolest thing is it's still so undeveloped. I mean, you got the main hubs, Cabo. I haven't been to Cabo in, 20 years probably.
Yeah.
But from what I hear, it's completely different.
It is.
I like the places off the beaten path.
Me too.
I like to go where people don't go, where people haven't been, and there's always risk involved. And, when I run my series, all the guys in my series, they all run boats that are ideal for Sea of Cortez.
Yeah.
Normally speaking, I don't really advertise going down there because I don't want to get fished out.
Yeah.
As long as people go down there and they're smart about it, that's fine. You don't need to, catch and kill everything or whatever. I think, I don't know where I was going with this, but, going down there in a small boat, it's a lot. It's safe if your gear's tight and you don't do dumb things. Like I said, travel during the day.
Yeah.
Abide by the rules.
Don't go into bad parts of town.
Have your
blah blah blah.
paperwork ready. And the only issues I've ever had were in TJ, citation tickets.
Yeah.
Or
that happens.
Or Ensenada. Yeah. Even in San Felipe once on a Tony Reyes trip. I guess I ran a stop sign after going to one of the bars with my dad and my buddies before we jumped on the Tony Reyes trip. I guess I blew through a stop sign, and
those friggin' stop signs are hard to see sometimes down there.
God.
They are.
Well, and then so when we got back on that trip, somebody told me, "Hey, the cops are looking for you." I'm all, what, 5 days later? What? Yeah, you ran a stop sign and they want to get you. I'm all, whoa, that's 5 days ago.
Were they effing with you, or is that true?
I guess it was true. I'm sure I probably blew through a stop sign. I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mexico, man, awesome
Yeah,
place.
Good times. And you said you run. What do you do down there? Do you have to take people down to fish down there?
No. That's kind of like my deal. That's my vacation. That's my time off. I take my Robalo. I have a 226 Robalo Cayman with a Mercury 250 Verado, and it is the ultimate boat for fishing. Leopard grouper and yellowtail and everything down there. Most all my friends and most all the guys that fish in my series, they all have perfect boats for going down there. And maybe one of these days we'll do a big caravan trip. But I just like to go with another rig or two.
Yeah.
And keep it simple, keep it safe, and just go do our thing and come home with huge smiles. And it's so funny. as great of a time as you have and you don't have any mishaps, you still come home and kiss the ground in the U.S.
Yes, of course.
No matter what.
Yeah.
Because there are risks traveling down a two-way highway, even during the day. I had one, I don't know, 3 trips ago or 4 trips ago where 2 cars in front of me, a car kind of veered over into the opposing traffic, almost a head-on, right in front of me.
I know.
And it was like, whoa, you hear about it.
Yeah.
You really never see it. Sometimes you see the aftermath. I've seen, semis
Me
rolled
too.
over. And we've seen that. But
Yes.
to see it almost happen in front of you and then you imagine it, or when you go around to pass somebody that's driving slower. And I mean, there's inherent risks. There's always going to be. But
especially that 2-lane, because all it takes is somebody to drift. You got to pay attention, for sure.
All it takes is, for
I
somebody
took
to
a
come
bus twice. I did this from Mexico City to Tijuana.
Oh my God.
Freaking 3 days, right?
Oh,
and
man.
it's funny because like when you hit Mexicali, the bus driver starts going like 500 miles an hour and he's passing on turns and everything. And it's like, because he's had it. You can tell. There's 2 guys.
He's at the end of his run.
And you know what we're doing? We're like, faster, faster. Yeah, because we've had it too.
Isn't that like a horse? Isn't that like when you rent a horse and it leaves the stable and then when it's time to go back, that thing just, there's a term for that, right? He just bolts back. You almost get tossed off that thing because they're over it. They're done. They want to get back.
So, you know what? Just talking to you for this short period of time, I want to go fishing with you so people can go fishing with you. Do you do freshwater guide? Do you do saltwater?
My whole base is, I used to guide in the freshwater.
Yeah.
Lake Castaic, Lake Paris. I lived in Mission Viejo, Lake Mission Viejo, private lake. I guided on that lake for a long time. Then I started, I bought another small skiff, so I started taking some of my freshwater clients saltwater fishing. So I've always kind of done that, but I think 5 years ago now, I went full-time saltwater. I was doing remodel construction, kitchens, bathrooms, full redos from demo to custom tile. I did pretty much all my own work. But my wife, Maria, said to me one day, hey, let's buy you a new boat. Go do what you love to do. So thanks to her.
Wow. Everybody needs a wife like that. You're a lucky guy.
You're right. 100%. I wish it was the same for everybody. But, so I run the Robalo, and right now I run charters full time. And I run the saltwater bass series in between. I fish freshwater tournaments in between. And
you're busy.
I'm always doing something fishing.
Do you fish a particular area, or where do you launch from, or do you have your boat in the water? Or?
Alamitos Bay.
Yeah.
I launch at the launch ramp, at the Davies launch ramp.
Okay.
Sometimes Huntington Harbor over there, but at Alamitos. And then most of my trips, like this time of year, I do a lot of half-day trips, 6 to 10 a.m., 11 to 3. During the summer, I do a lot of double half-dayers. I'm running to Catalina Island 4 or 5 days a week. Offshore trips once the tuna kind of fill in and settle in up here, backside of Catalina to Clemente 43. Sometimes I'll launch, elsewhere if people want to fish offshore. But I like launching out of Long Beach.
Yeah.
It's a great run to the west end of Clemente, east end of Cat, west end of Clemente. Or sometimes, like last year, and I don't really talk about this either, but the backside of Catalina was unbelievable for bluefin tuna last year.
For a prolonged period of time? For a
while. Those fish were back there for a long time.
Wow. Riding some ridge probably, huh?
Some
500
below Santa Barbara Island. From Santa Barbara Island, all the way to Clemente, the 499, that upper Clemente Ridge, to even just a couple miles off the backside of Cat itself. From the Farnsworth to the west end.
No way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And we had many days where just full-blown foamers. I'd go out. Normally I don't take 4 clients. If I know my clients or I've taken them out before, I'll say, yeah, go ahead. We'll take a 4th. My boat fishes 2 extremely well, not including myself. 3, no problem if you know what you're doing. 4 gets a little bit tight, especially when these things are foaming.
Yeah.
But we had one trip, a few trips actually like this, but, limits of bluefin in 40, 45 minutes.
Oh, my God.
It's basically singles and doubles, get the fish in the boat. I'm busy bleeding, gilling, gutting. Everyone's hooked up and things are still foaming around the boat. And there's not a boat in sight.
Jeez.
It's crazy.
That's like heaven.
That's my favorite thing to do is chase bluefin.
Really?
With the Robalo, with artificials. Yeah.
More than bass fishing?
Yeah, man, that's tough. And I love my bass fishing.
I know you do, but there's an adrenaline rush with that bluefin.
I tell you what, by the end of the day, I lose my voice because I'm yelling and screaming just like my passengers in the boat. It's it's crazy.
Yeah.
But my favorite thing is just kind of, unfortunately, there's times where you got to not find the fleet but fish areas where the fleet happens to be, where the fish happen to be. But even then, I'll branch off. I love to go find my own stuff. I have some good friends that are hook and line commercial guys, so I network with them, which really helps.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's a great
some inside info, man. That always helps.
A little bit of code work on that one, which is great for my business. It's great for them. The more eyes on the water, the better.
Yeah.
But that's my favorite thing, I think, is chasing tuna, whether it's yellowfin or bluefin. I don't care, either or.
I like fishing with guys that don't want to fish with the fleet. When I worked in San Diego, there were guys that would, you'd come out of Point Loma and you'd see all the light. In those days, just wall to wall lights, and you'd be like right in the middle of the lights. But some guys would go like way out west, and they were factoring in like movement of the fish and water temp, and they were factoring in a lot of stuff to try to guess not where those fish were yesterday, but where they're going to be tomorrow. And so many times when you fish with a guy like you, like that, man, you like you said, all by yourself on the backside of Catalina, catching bluefin.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's those things, like my buddy Tino Valentine. He runs the Freedom right here. Tino's a good friend of mine, and he says, "Hey, fish have tails. Those tuna, they always move. They're always moving." So yeah, it's yesterday's area is it could be the same area, but you still got to move around to find them. They say tuna spend 1% of their life on the surface, something like that. So to find them foaming up and doing their thing, or breezing or puddling, it's having good binoculars, image stabilizing binoculars, huge. Those things are so expensive. No, they're not. I bought a brand new pair of the new Fujinon TSXs, the new version of the Fuji 14x40s.
How much are those?
They were
$3,000?
They were $1,500, and then shipping, and then I got an additional 2 years insurance. Yeah. It's like almost $2,000.
Worth every cent.
They paid for themselves in the first season.
Yeah.
And they save you fuel. They save a lot, and a lot of times I'm looking and I see birds or I see dolphin, and I kind of get a heading with the boat, turn it and shut things off and make a run, and 5 minutes later I'm not even close.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh God, where are they? Okay, they're there. So I'm go and get them 10 minutes later, you're on them.
Running and gunning, is that what you're doing?
Running and gunning.
Now, there is nothing more exciting than that. I know why you're yelling, right?
It's crazy.
Because you have that whole anticipation thing, right? Where you're, oh, jeez, look at these things, man. They're up. And your guys are starting to get excited, right? Yeah. Then you run full rack and slide on that foamer. Well, what the hell could be better than that?
It's insane. And I'm just fishing through my kids, my buddies, my clients. I don't even need to make a cast. I love it. It's just, you'll drive for hours and not see a doggone thing. And then all of a sudden you see them. It's, whoa, there they are,
Yeah.
Let's get them. And right timing, right place, right time. And, people always ask, how do you get on them all the time? And I say I fill my gas tank with fuel and I go and I burn it.
Yeah, that is so true, right?
That is, you got to cover water.
Yeah.
You can go off of information from the day before, but that might put you in the neighborhood, but that doesn't put you, in the zone. Just
listening to you, I know you'll agree with this. It's not only covering water, but it's really paying attention, right? Because you can miss a lot. You can miss a bird dipping that could be your day.
One bird.
Yeah.
One bird, and watching one or two birds can tell you a lot, But I really think key to getting out on your own out there is to have a good pair of image stabilizing binoculars.
So if there's a private boater or somebody that's listening to us right now and they're kind of new in the game, that sounds like one of your biggest tips is to get the good binocs.
Get yourself a pair of good image stabilizing binoculars. I'll get myself in the zone. I'll stop the boat and I'll glass for 5 or 8 minutes. If I don't see anything, I'll keep running. Run 10, 15 minutes, stop the boat, look again, keep glassing. You just got to glass. Those things, you can see for miles with those things. They're going to save you from going one way or the other, and you're going to start to see signs of life, and it's going to direct you into the right areas. And once you get closer, then you're seeing it that much easier.
Yeah.
Then it's like, oh, shoot, we're here, they're here. Then you start to see breezers or puddlers or... foaming fish,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Signs of life. What does that mean to the guy that's new to this game? What is he looking for exactly?
Birds, huge dolphin. Once these yellowfins settle in a little bit later, September, October.
Yeah.
Once they kind of settle in and they get on the dolphin, we caught a lot of big yellowfin last year and the year before on dolphin. So finding dolphin, and with image stabilization, the dolphin are easy to find from a distance.
Right?
Yeah. And a lot of times you think they're dolphin and you pull up and they're 200-pound bluefin. We've had that many times. And, we hook those things and usually go for however many. Unless we're using a big gear, unless we're using a flyer and a big setup and a balloon and some helium and, going that way. But, I do that in the boat, but I think plain and simple, my setup caters best to run and gun style fishing.
Yeah.
Artificials.
And so when you get up there, what are you throwing at them?
We throw Rapala subwalkers, Subwalk 15, great bait. A clear popper that we discovered, one of my friends, Matt Newman and Chris Martin, a couple of my buddies. I think my buddy Chris actually kind of got on that one through some of his buddies. Everybody knows about it now, so I can say it.
Yeah.
It's just a clear popper. It's a 15 popper. It's like 5 3/4, 6 inches long. Doesn't have a really big cupped face, so it's a little more spurt kind of push, push instead of that boosh, boosh pop.
Yeah.
Not like the big popper.
Right.
So it's a little more finesse. A lot of times, we'll fire that thing out, tip up, and you can just reel it and kind of give it some little push, push, and they just clobber that thing. It's insane.
Blow out on it.
It's unbelievable what a difference that lure itself has made. Of course, the cold snipers, all that stuff. I would recommend always changing out those cold sniper treble hooks. The gap is so small on those treble hooks, and you're pulling that hard on those 50, 70, 80-pound bluefin.
Yeah.
40, 60-pound, 70-pound yellowfin. A lot of those treble hooks that you pull them off when you're just pulling that hard. And the key to getting these tuna up to the boat to gaff is applying as much pressure as you can. Their whole thing in a circle, 3/4 of that fish's turn under the boat. You keep their nose up, they're coming up. That quarter of a turn circle that they're doing, 25%, you got to kind of hold them.
Yeah.
And don't let them get their nose down. But once you get back to that part where you can kind of lift them, keeping their nose, it's crazy the technique it takes to get a 120, 200-pound bluefin up to boat on Alexa 400 and an 810 heavy.
Yeah, right.
On heavy bass gear, and that's what we use. And but the treble hooks they pull out, so always put a bigger single hook on there just to try to get that hook in there.
We were talking to a long range guy the other day, and see if you agree with him. He was saying that sometimes anglers, like, they first get bit on a big bluefin and the fish is stripping line, and they're pulling and they're fighting it, and there's nothing they're going to do to slow that. So his thing was, you might as well relax, like, just
sit back,
let them do. Is that it?
Let them do their thing, because they're going to do their thing. That first run especially, just kind of sit back. You can't really put pressure on them until they get under the boat and start to do their circles. Then you can apply that pressure.
Yeah.
But I've hooked bluefin that never went down, that played like the devil on the surface.
Yeah.
And just kicked our butts for hour and a half. And we get that fish to the boat and we look at it and go, oh my God, I got so much respect for you.
Yeah.
That thing just fought like no other.
Yeah.
But usually, once those bluefin or yellowfin take their first run or two, they kind of settle in and they get down under the boat, and that's when you really can apply that pressure. So, and some of the, like the subwalk and the clear poppers, I always rig them with an owner 4X hook. The new STXs, it's a thinner gauge, but it's still as strong as the 4X ST66s, I think is what they are. But the STX 58, whatever it is, a new version. Those hooks are super strong. They don't bend out. 1/0, 2/0, 3/0 in those owner treble hooks. I pretty much change out all my lures to the 4X hooks. And, of course, the bigger the treble hook, the better those fish will stay on and the harder you can pull. We had a 200-pounder last year hooked in the corner with a Rapala subwalker. And that thing fought like the dickens, too. And we actually traded off, my buddy and I. And I get on there, last leg of it, I'm fresh again. And I get that thing doing huge circles on the surface now. And man, we had the hooks pull right in front of us and watch that thing sink out.
Oh,
and
heartbreak.
It's
huh?
a bummer, but yeah, you're pulling as hard as you can. That's the key of those things. You know, once they get to that point where they're not just peel and drag, you know, and making their runs, once they kind of settle in, you can apply a lot of pressure. But even then, even in between, you know, while they're under the boat, they get their head down for a second, and their will to survive is so strong.
Yeah, oh yeah,
you know
right.
I mean, that's what's so fun too about them.
Do you ever take bait, or do you not fish bait?
I do take bait. No matter what, I take bait.
Yeah.
Even if I'm just running gun and fishing artificials.
How important is fluorocarbon to that? Do you think it's important at all?
100%.
Okay.
100%.
Yeah.
I fish. You know, Daiwa has some new J fluoro.
Uh-huh.
I use that from 20-pound test all the way up to 80. I also use the new AFCO cyclofluorocarbon, super strong. I think it's a little bigger in diameter per test rating, but that cyclofluoro is unbelievable too. I use both. They're both great.
You feel like you get bit better with fishing it?
Well, being that I'm fishing artificials, it's all reaction bites.
Yeah.
So it's not now bait.
Bait, right.
Bait, absolutely yes. Yeah. I mean, fluorocarbon is non-refractive. It doesn't refract light. It's invisible. We had, was it not last February before, out off of Newport, year and a couple months ago, we were getting bit on bluefin that were coming down from up north on live mackerel. They only wanted 30-pound test and had to be fluoro. They wouldn't bite anything else. We got a few bites on 40-pound. That day we happened to go 0 for 8. Right out off Newport Canyon.
Wow.
Just below the rigs off of Huntington. So,
amazing, huh?
It was crazy.
You've been doing this a long time like I have in these local waters. This freaking bluefin thing.
It's incredible.
Isn't it?
It's incredible.
It's a throwback to 100 years ago.
It's funny.
Zane Grey stuff.
It's unbelievable. I mean, I tell you what, it's unfortunate for the purse seine fleet to have their quotas minimized like they have.
Yeah.
I feel for those guys. I get it. But in an effort for conservation, hopefully their quotas will come back up a little bit to make it worth their time. But it's only helped the recreational guys and the sport guys,
immensely,
the long
right?
range fleet.
Yes.
Yeah, the overnight boats. It's only helped us because it has created quite a bit of stir and quite a bit of business for everybody.
Yeah. When you get a bluefin on the boat, do you bleed it? Do you take good care of it that way or not?
First thing I do. Is
so you do. That's great.
Bleed them. Then I gill them, gut them, cut a circle around the anus area, get in there, separate the membrane in the gill area there, cut the gills out, and you can pull the whole wad out in one swath.
Yeah.
Put that fish in the water for a few minutes to let them cool off internally a little bit, and then get them in the kill bag, pack them with ice.
Wow, you treat these fish with a great deal of respect.
If you're gonna take them, take good care of them.
Right.
I don't freeze any tuna. I give it all away.
And what is the difference between catching a fish and not doing that and doing it? It's night and day.
It's night and day.
Yeah, it is.
It's night and day. I mean, I can remember
sashimi quality, like beyond, right?
It's incredible. It's the only way to do it. And anybody that can enjoy fish, I give my fish to my neighbors, friends, family. Anybody that knows fresh fish, they come back and they say, "Good God, that was some of the best fish I've ever had."
Yeah.
And everybody I give it to, they don't cook it. They eat it, raw. Whether it's yellowtail, a lot of the yellowtail I catch, gets put on the grill but who doesn't like hamachi? Who doesn't like yellowtail raw?
Yeah, exactly.
It's so good. But yeah, taking care of your fish is just as important as pursuing them and catching them.
Gerry, I've asked you a couple times about like private boaters that might want to learn something. It strikes me as a good idea to just go fishing with you. You're going to get, seriously. Yeah. I mean, because I guess you're a fisherman, but you sound like a teacher to me. And people could go out there and you could, show them how you're glassing and show them what to look for. And then how do you take care of your catch? Man, it just sounds like a mini seminar. You get a PhD in how to catch bluefin or whatever species you're after.
And I've learned from a lot of guys. Something I learned, honestly, you get on a boat with somebody with experience, you cut the learning curve tremendously. You save. I take people out in their own boats. I charge them my daily rate for taking people out in their boat. And they're like, wow, okay. And they kind of get a better picture.
Yeah.
You go a few times and they're like, okay, man, I think we're good.
Yeah, yeah.
They'll usually hop on my boat a couple times. Then I'll go out on their boat and dial them in and explain how to approach breezing or puddling fish or foaming fish. There's a lot of advantages. Boat position's huge too. casting downwind, of course, is way easier than casting into the wind at these fish with artificials. Being patient, getting around them, being quiet. I'll get out in front of a breezer and just kind of shut it down, not shut it down completely, but pull the boat out of gear and drift and literally watch giant schools of bluefin come under and around my boat, split my boat, come up on the backside of me and just keep puddling away. And
wow.
There's definitely right ways to do it. And fortunately I've been lucky enough to get to spend enough time on not just my boat, but friends' boats too. We were talking about taking care of fish and diapering fish. Jimmy Decker is a good buddy of mine. Everybody knows Jimmy Decker. He mentioned to me a few years ago, "Hey man, do you ever diaper your fish?" And I looked at him like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Wrapping up fillets in paper towels, changing them out every day. The first day twice, the next day change it out every 24 hours. Your fish, you don't even have to freeze it. You can keep it in the refrigerator, wrapped in fresh paper towels with the top of the bag open to get rid of that condensation. The key is to draw the moisture out. And your end product when it comes time to eat is unbelievable." He used to tell me, 4 or 5 days of doing that with white sea bass, and the stuff is prime.
Really?
It's like dry aging it.
Sounds like you can keep it in there for almost a week.
You can keep now. Yellowfin seems to stay a little bit longer than bluefin. I think yellowfin's a little more firm. Bluefin, 3, 4 days, 5 days. As long as you're changing out those paper towels every day, wake up in the morning, change them out, put the Ziploc back in the refrigerator, but leave the top open so that moisture can escape. That's the whole key, is to draw the moisture out of the meat. The moisture is what starts that spoiling process.
Yeah, right.
3, 4 days. I like to do it for at least 2 or 3 days before I start eating it raw. It's incredible. I mean, I eat it that. Well, I'm filleting it.
Yeah, I know, right?
But yeah, usually we get a plate
wasabi and soy on board.
We get a plate or two going while we're cutting up fish, but it's really good a couple days later if you take good care of it. Make sure it's bled out, ice it down, and gotta take care of that stuff.
Wow, that sounds great. Let's switch over to bass fishing. So, are you focusing? No, we'll talk
freshwater.
We could do that.
Saltwater.
That's not my thing. So you're gonna have to really educate me. But yeah, we'll talk about it in a second.
Yeah,
why not? But salt. Do you fish for sand bass at all, or are you focused on calico bass?
I do. I take my clients out here. We fish isers, we fish the flats, we fish the shoe, and we fish calicos and sand bass.
Let's talk wintertime, winter or spring. We're coming into spring. Actually, when this airs, it'll be into spring. How are you fishing these things? Is it a leadhead and squid? Is it
leadhead
artificials?
Squid, live squid. Right now, Nachos, they've been having squid all the time. Can't lose with live squid. We've had 60, 80 fish days.
Have you been out recently?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. You've had 60, 80 fish days?
Oh yeah.
I want to go with you.
We fish sardines.
Please?
We fish sardines, and sometimes I get a mix, 1 tank sardine and 1 tank squid. Just depending kind of where I'm fishing, but it's all local stuff. This time of year, squid's huge.
Yeah.
Fresh dead squid. On some of my trips where I have squid left over, I take good care of it. I freeze it up. And that works just as good.
Yeah. Are you fishing like Isers is just loaded with all kinds of bad neighborhoods. You can get all screwed up out there. Yeah. Do you fish heavy line?
I'm fishing on, like for my clients, 40-pound J-braid Grand with a 20 or 25-pound fluoro leader.
Yeah.
Some of those fish get us in there, and you really don't have a chance.
Yeah.
If they eat the bait close to the structure, a lot of
You're
times.
You're done.
Yeah. And I'm usually primarily using spinning setups for my clients.
Oh, you are?
Yeah. But the bait casting stuff, you can pull a little bit harder, a little more power in that stuff, conventional setups. But a lot of artificial stuff too.
Yeah.
Hookup baits work great.
Yeah, they are good,
Work
aren't
super
they?
good.
Yeah.
A cool bait underspin, a 1/2 ounce cool bait underspin. I fish the breakwall quite a bit with a 3-inch, 4-inch big hammer swim bait on there. Works really good on the breakwall. Same thing with the hookup bait on the breakwall. Some of my clients, they just want to fish artificials. They don't want to fish bait.
Right.
So we'll do that. But when it comes to bait fishing, I'll fish a reverse dropper loop or even a dropper loop right on the structure. A lot of times those fish are kind of glued to the structure. Recently, I just ran my tournament, the Saltwater Bass Series here, our last tournament in Long Beach. I guess I can let the cat out of the bag since that event has already passed.
Let it out.
Some of the top placing teams we're out there chasing bird schools that were on open water bait,
Yeah.
fin bait. There was a little bit of squid even up in the column too, a little bit. Most of that fish has been eating squid, but that sand bass, this was a sand bass only event with the option to be able to weigh one calico bass. You know, if it's a sand bass only event and you're fishing it with your son or a buddy and one of you catches a 6-pound calico, you know what, we're going to count it. You get one incidental calico bass. Yeah, to be able to weigh with your other 4 sand bass.
Yeah.
Or weigh 5 sand bass.
Yeah.
Because I've heard this for over 10 years now. Man, I wish it was a calico tournament. We slayed the calico.
Yeah.
It happened to be a sand bass tournament.
Yeah.
So anyway, but these guys were chasing birds, open water bird schools.
And the sand bass were running
And the
around
sand
there?
bass were out there open water.
Really?
Not that they're spawning or nothing, but they were just keyed on these open water bait balls.
Huh.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's fresh fish moving in here, or
No,
they're just keyed on
they're
the bait.
keyed on that. And I think a big change, and you probably will agree too, I'm sure, since we've had red crab.
Yeah.
I've noticed this a lot at the islands, Catalina Island, San Clemente Island, all the islands, at least the local islands out here, Catalina, Clemente especially, with the presence of red crab, not so much in the last year or two, but prior to that, we had a lot of red crab.
Right.
What happened was a lot of the shallow structure-oriented calico bass, we used to go and fish hard baits, Daiwa Salt Pro minnows, some Missouri hard bait stuff, weedless plastics right up on the bank and just burning that stuff off the bank.
Right.
And you're hooking, watching these calicos come out of the kelp or out of the rocks and mopping your junk right before your eyes.
That's
exciting
so cool.
as can be.
Yeah.
A lot of that shallow structure-oriented bass has moved out into open water due to the red crab. And they've kind of stayed like that. You're going to get days where
Change their behavior, right?
completely change their feeding habits and their behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
we're now, a lot of, I run a lot of trips during the summer at Catalina. I'll be metering down the front side while I'm fishing yellows or whatever, and I see huge schools of calicos come under the boat. You throw a little, red color hookup bait or a little anything red basically on a lighter spinning setup, and it's wide open calico fishing.
Wow.
Open water. You're not even near the bank.
Really?
You're in 70 to 120 feet of water.
Just in the middle of nowhere?
In the middle of nowhere.
That is freaking crazy.
Keep your eye on the graph.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that red crab, that's due to that red crab, the presence of red crab the last few years.
There's been a little bit of that off Dana Point here this year.
Has
Not
there
a
been
lot.
some?
Yeah, a little bit. But, they're talking a lot about La Nina, which doesn't make sense for red crabs. But who knows? There could be a warm water current on the outside and a cooler one on the inside. It's hard to say.
And the reality is conditions are always going to change a little bit. And with human presence and pressure on these fish now, that also makes a difference too. They're not smart, but if they don't adjust a little bit, according to survival, they'd go extinct.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're not smart. They just make adjustments, for themselves too.
How important is, and this applies to any kind of fishing, bluefin, do you factor in tide and full and moon phase? Is that important to you?
It is, yeah. I think a building full moon does make a difference for bluefin tuna fishing. Here I'm going to Lake Havasu tomorrow. We just had a full moon. I'm going again in the end of March during the full moon. These fish definitely, they'll find a pattern, and there's some form of movement leading up to a full moon. After the full moon, things kind of get back to what you would call normal. But I think it definitely makes a difference.
I agree. I like that week before the full. That's when I do my tunas.
It seems to build, yeah.
And it's not foolproof, but
it's not.
Just seems
because
to
I've seen it be the exact opposite,
Me too.
where it works on the new moon.
Yeah, right.
As bizarre as that sounds. And even diving for lobster, I do a lot of diving for lobster at night. You would think, oh man, don't go on the full moon. It's the worst time to go, and I've seen them crawl like no tomorrow.
Yeah.
And you go during the no moon, or I still can't figure out lobster. They're the weirdest creature in the world. But moon phase, tide, and all that. Tide not so much, but the moon itself, I think,
It's big.
has a different.
Is that offshore? Are you talking about, or everything?
I think everything.
Yeah.
I think everything.
Fish like moving water, right?
They do like moving water. Yeah. But I don't know if it's just the pull of the. I don't know what it is. It's hard to explain because I've seen it work the opposite too, though.
Yeah.
So I always just kind of keep an open mind. Just keep an open mind.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so fishing calicos along the wall here. That can be, I mean, it sounds like you're not going very far and it can't be that good. And there's some big bass and some epic bites that take place out on the wall.
There's some great fishing.
Yeah.
You know, for a while there, we were, for years actually, not so much recently, Lucky Craft DD100, medium to smaller size hard bait, jerk bait with a little bit of a diving bill on a burn and kill kind of retrieve. Man, you would slam. You'd catch 50, 60, 80 fish.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Mostly smaller fish. Seems like a lot. Fish on those artificials, the smaller fish are just a little more aggressive than those bigger ones. Leadhead swim bait, you know, with an MC or a big hammer swim bait, you know, a war bait head or some type of a weedless type of head. A little bit lower in the column, you know, seems to get the bigger fish.
Yeah.
But that fun stuff on the smaller to medium hard baits, a lot of fun. I know the night bite's been pretty good on the inside of the wall in some certain sections. Been really good.
Yeah. Do you prefer the inside or the outside?
I like the outside. I've always been kind of an outside guy.
Yeah.
When I was younger, fishing breakwater tournaments back in the day. And God, we used to catch so many big sand bass on that wall.
Yeah.
Not as many as we used to, but they're still there. And there's a little. It's different. You know, I don't know if it's fished out or those fish have just changed their habits and they've moved out, you know. But there's still giants on the wall. You know, if you think about it, every boulder on that wall presents 3 sides of access into caverns and cracks.
There's a home there, right, for somebody.
There's so much forage and so much stuff on that break wall.
Yeah, for sure, man.
It's crazy.
Do you like nighttime fishing on the wall or daytime? Everybody says nighttime's the time to go.
I like daytime.
Yeah.
You know, there's the lowest part of the break wall on the outside, the Long Beach wall down below. There's always a ton of fin bait on that wall. So the hard bait bite can be really good on that section of the break wall.
Yeah.
You know, and the break wall offers 3 different environments because there's sections of it they all face a different way. So you got to keep your eyes open. You got to, you know, go meter it up, see what kind of bait's where, and see what's doing what. Some sections it's biting much better than other areas, you know. But the break wall does basically offer 3 different environments because of the way it faces in each section. So.
You were talking about a second ago, and some people don't think that you should burn a swim bait for calico bass, but you literally burn them, right? And they eat them.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when I was first introduced to that, I'm like, wait a minute, a bat? I mean, you don't want to go. And he goes, dude, turn the handle as fast as you can turn it. Just take my word for it. And I'm like,
not,
yeah.
Yeah. You can't outswim any kind of a lure.
Right.
Outswim a calico bass.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
Do you find that more effective at Catalina or locally, or it doesn't matter?
Well, you know, like how I was saying, you know, you burn and kill a hard bait.
Yeah.
Just like fishing live bait, when you grab that light blown sardine, you know, oh, this thing's gonna get bit.
Yeah.
The hottest bait in the tank always gets bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Same thing, you know, when you're out chumming on tuna and those hookless baits get out and when they bolt, boom, boom, boom. Then you put a hook in a bait and
what
you
happened?
don't get bit as good. That's why I use a lot of spinning setups, believe it or not, for tuna fishing.
Yeah.
Especially those yellowfin that haven't quite settled in.
Because you can cast further?
Well, no, because the line comes off the spool with no resistance.
Oh, right.
On a spinning reel.
That's
Whereas
true.
on a conventional reel, it's got to turn the spool.
That's true.
So that bait doesn't fire off away from the boat.
That makes a great deal of sense.
Same thing with the yellowtail at Catalina Island. And I've shared this in some of the seminars, you know, when we had Fred Hall and some other, you know, club stuff. A lot of my success with my clients comes from using spinning setups.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and there was and still might be like so-called like the boys, you know, they're a little against that kind of stuff. Yeah. I even when, you know, I started surf fishing several years ago, I was going to stay with a conventional. Man, I'm spinner all the way, and it works so much better. That makes a great deal of sense to me.
It's huge. I don't know how many times, you know, I'll run offshore. I'll just fish the front side of Catalina. Front side of Catalina, I've got a spot lock, a motor guide trolling motor that has an anchor mode on it. I'll pull up to one of my sweet spots, put the troll motor in, hit anchor on that thing, and I'll start chumming a little bit. And I usually, you know, these yellowtail will come up current behind the boat, and they'll start blowing up on the chum. Putting a hook bait on conventional, they kind of get keyed and they get used to unhooked baits.
Yeah.
Your chum. Yellowfin tuna, the same thing. When they're not suicidal and they haven't quite settled in yet, well, you can throw a chum out there and they'll blow up on it. But you put a hook bait on and especially on a conventional setup.
And they know.
They know, dude. It's
Yeah.
like they ain't buying it.
Yeah, exactly.
But a spinning setup, you fire that thing out there, and that bait, with a smaller hook too, number 2 or number 1 fly liner. If they're picky, I'll go to a number 2. But number 1 fly liner, owner fly liner, I probably go through, I don't know, 1,500, maybe 2,000 hooks a year.
Wow.
So I go through 1 million hooks.
That's a lot of hooks.
It's a lot of hooks. I just ordered 5 packs. I just had to re-up my hook pack. So anyway, small hook and 20-pound test for the yellows on the front side of Catalina. A little bit lighter than what you want.
Yeah.
The cool
But you
thing,
get bit, right?
You get bit.
Yeah.
And you got to get bit before anything.
Before you catch anything.
And a lot of times I'll pull the boat off of anchor mode and either use the big motor or the troll motor itself to chase these fish down to stay straight up and down on these yellows.
Oh, okay.
They will rub you off just like
hell yeah.
anywhere. They have that ability.
Yeah.
And if you can stay straight up and down on them, even with the spinning setups, you can boat them 20, 25 pounders. And that's another thing too. This last year, we lost a lot of yellows. They got bigger from a couple of years before.
Really?
Oh, I'm telling you, where normally you go to Catalina, standard size is, 8 to 12 maybe
pounds.
15 pounds.
Yeah.
Last year, when we were hooking 20, 25 pounders, we didn't
Those
have
are
a chance
nice
on.
fish, man.
We did boat quite a few of them, but they seemed to be bigger last year. And we ran into some problems.
So spinning, a lot of people out there having their head spinning reel. That's not going to work, but the technology now is awesome. So give a recommendation. What kind of reel and rod would you recommend?
I've been using Ballistic 5000, and it sounds real big, but the ballistic size category is a little exaggerated compared to normal reels or even the other Daiwa reels. This season, I'm jumping into Saltist 3500 and 4000s. And I use an 8-foot medium heavy or heavy spinning setup. 40-pound J-Brig Grand and 20-pound fluoro leader, whether it's the J fluoro, whatever fluoro you're using, the Seagar, whatever you're using. 20 pound. Huge difference. If the fish are biting pretty good, I'll use a number 1, fly liner. If they're kind of finicky, a number 2. And if they're really psycho, we don't want to look at nothing, I'll go to a number 4 or even a number 6 just to get bites. And hook size is exponentially important at Catalina.
Yes.
Front side of Catalina, even the back. Those fish get a lot of pressure, ton of pressure.
Yes, they do.
Ton of pressure. But the key is to finding your own fish also, getting away from the beaten path, hoping people don't run up through your stuff, behind you. Well, you pull it to a spot, you set your boat on anchor mode, you're chumming, and it's a bummer to have somebody run up the back of you. You just wasted, half a pass.
You got
of
a
bait.
chum line going. The fish are starting to walk to the boat.
I see the
And
frustration.
somebody on a jet ski goes by, right?
I see the frustration the big boats have too. And
Yeah, of course.
it's a tough thing to deal with, but it is what it is. But the key is to just find your little sweet spots and chum them up, be quiet, and fish light stuff, and you'll get a lot of bites.
We talked about spring and winter for calico bass, sand bass. How about summertime? Is that the best?
Summer's great.
When's the best time to
The
fish
calicos,
for bass?
I think the summertime. Summer and late summer, even into the fall.
Yeah.
Water's warm, they're active, their metabolism's high. Calico bass, pre-spawn is in May. They start spawning in June into July. I think even in the last couple of years, we've had pretty good weather. I think they even had double spawns. They get in these big, huge schools, and they do that. What do they call that? Spawning. Where they get all together.
What do they call that?
There's
Steve?
a word for that.
No, an orgy, right? Isn't that what it is?
I explained that one to my younger stepdaughter. I'm all, sweetheart, the boys, the guys, they all get in this giant pack, and then they all just let their junk go. And she goes, ew.
It's a nature lesson.
It's called broadcast spawning.
Okay, there you go.
Broadcast
Yeah,
one.
I didn't know. I thought this was broadcasting.
We ain't letting our junk go.
Yeah, we're none of that here today.
No. No, but I think summer's great for calico bass.
They're
fishing.
active, right?
They're active.
Yeah.
Favorite
Favorite place to fish calico bass? Is it
backside of San Clemente Island.
It's pretty good,
Just
huh?
away from the world.
China Point?
I like fishing.
Eel?
A lot of people run to the west end and they fish like the runway down
okay.
to maybe eel. I like from eel to I like that backside middle.
Oh yeah.
just-
Because that kind of
Seal Cove down a little bit further.
You're fishing right along the kelp line?
Right on the beach.
Yeah.
Right on the beach. Or on the outside of the kelp, if the stuff's out on the outside of the kelp. I know the West End, a lot of it's kelp stuff. But I like to get down the island a little bit and get in real tight and fish all that stuff.
Are you anchoring or are you just... No, you're not, right? You got a trolling motor kind of
I
setup?
do have the trolling motor, but a lot of times I'm fishing off the big motor, just bumping it in and out of gear.
Oh, okay.
You know, with a 4-stroke, it works really good.
And you're covering a lot of ground that way, right?
Covering a ton of ground. And, you know, if there's swell, staying on the big motor is the smartest thing you could do. Your troll motor's not going to get you out of trouble.
Right.
If you got to tell your partner up front, hey, sit down, you know.
We got to punch out of here.
Oh, yeah, we got to get out of here. We've had some close calls, but, you know,
it's worth it.
I've surfed most of my life, so I always keep my eye for sets anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you're familiar with bodyboarding or body surfing or being at the beach,
you're a waterman, aren't you? You're not just a fisherman. You like the diving, it sounds like, and surfing and the whole thing, huh?
I like to be in and on the water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where your home is, huh? Is that where you find your peace and tranquility in a way? I mean, I hate to sound philosophical.
You know what? It's weird, but either jumping in at night for lobster.
It's not spooky to you? That seems creepy as hell to me.
You're so focused on what's in the beam of your light.
Yeah.
You don't even think about anything else.
Yeah.
All you're thinking about where's those.
Do you ever have anything scare the hell out of you, like a sea lion stick his nose in your face?
My last dive 4 days ago, I had I had a harbor seal come underneath me, and they get in your light, and they're trying to help you.
Yeah.
Right? I'll help you find lobster. Yeah. So this guy was so friendly, and the harbor seals are cool. They're not a problem at all.
Right.
They're super curious. This guy stuck with me for 20 minutes. I couldn't get rid of him. He would come, he'd roll underneath me, belly up, and just look at me. You know, and I'm looking, and then he'd kind of break off, get 10 feet out in front of me in my light, and I'm like, dude, get out of here. You're scaring everything. But I actually touched him. I could have scratched his belly.
Really?
He didn't even care. He didn't even care at all.
That's pretty cool, huh?
But people are like, aren't you afraid of sharks? Oh, we see horned sharks and leopard sharks all the time. Well, what about great white sharks? Well, great white sharks, they're visual feeders. They don't really feed at night. They don't. They like to see what they're going to eat.
Yeah.
So there's no great whites at night.
No. Right.
At least that's what I say.
They disappear, right?
There's no great whites at night. My wife thinks I'm crazy. I go, babe, don't worry.
She may be right. You know that?
Once you jump in the water, though, and you start swimming, and there's nothing better than grabbing lobster with your hand.
Oh, my God. It's going to be great, right?
They get a little torn up, but it's great.
You're not wearing gloves or anything?
Oh, yeah, you got to wear gloves.
Yeah.
But still, they get you.
Yeah.
You know,
man, and they eat good, don't they? Do you like to eat lobster?
They're delicious. I probably give away about 90% of what I catch all year.
Oh, Steve, will you get my phone number, please, over here? Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I should have brought you some.
Yeah, you should have. Yeah. What's wrong with you?
So,
I'll be down tomorrow night. Are you going tomorrow? I'll check in with you.
Yeah, right? Yeah, it's fun. I love being on the water. It's it's where it's at, man. I don't know. I love to surf. Was planning an Indo surf trip this March.
Hey, yeah, I wanted to talk to you about that. Are you going to Indonesia?
No, you know.
Oh man, because when you talked to me, or when I first talked to you, you were really excited about that.
Of course, that's like been a
bucket list.
Yeah, 100%. I'm Dutch Indonesian. So Indonesia, that's part of my heritage.
Yeah,
I want to go check it out.
Yeah,
the food's incredible, and the waves. Like right now, the Mentawais and a lot of the places in Indonesia, because of COVID, right now are like the 70s as far as crowds. There's nobody there.
Oh, that's right.
So and
it's got to be cheap as heck.
It's half off.
Yeah.
So, but what happened is the Indonesian government just implemented, okay, now for you to get the needed travel visa, because they're not letting anybody in without a resident permit.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have one.
Right.
So it's $600 a person now.
Oh, wow.
To get the needed travel visa.
Oh, so they're
to get pulled up to the site. Okay, give us your $600 and we'll get you to where you.
There goes your cheap.
Go. And you got to quarantine for 5 days at a hotel or a location that they deem.
That sounds like crap.
And I can't sit in a hotel locked in a hallway or a room for 5 days before I'm going to be surfing paradise.
Right.
So we pushed it off, and we're hoping,
I don't blame you.
We're hoping to go in October.
It won't be too much longer, I don't think. Indonesia, my brother's been there a few times. I was teaching in China, so I was doing Vietnam and Thai. And Indonesia was on my list only because my brother goes, dude, you got to go to Indonesia. This is freaking... out of control.
I eat Indonesian food at my parents' house. I mean, I make saute. I eat a lot of Indonesian food. I love it.
So you're going to push it off to the fall, it sounds
We're going to push it off.
Or are you going with your whole family?
No. I was just going to go with a buddy of mine.
Uh-huh.
Just to surf. One of my good buddies, Pete Thompson.
And just surf?
He's actually my partner here in Tuna Riot. We have our own little clothing brand that we're going to be launching here pretty soon.
I was going to ask you. Yeah, Tuna Riot. Yeah. So that's a clothing brand you're coming out with?
It's a clothing brand we're coming out. We're going to launch April Fools on April 1st is our target launch date. But, getting product, just getting the textiles is an issue.
Oh, the supply chain's all screwed up with this COVID, right?
Well, look at all the freighters,
the
cargo ships sitting out front.
Yeah, exactly.
It's horrible for all businesses. But
I think we're starting to get to the end of this.
I sure hope so. I sure hope so. I mean, as long as we're all safe.
And so, is it going to be available, Tuna Riot, in stores, or do they go to the website? Because this is going to air in April, May. So it'll be perfect.
So we're going to launch. We're going to do an online blitz. Social media, Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that. I think we're going to have a big opening party over at Aloha Grill downtown Huntington. That's the plan anyway. Some things kind of get changed around. We wanted to launch earlier, but we haven't. My partner. We haven't been able to get everything to be ready.
Yeah.
But that's coming out, and it's a lifestyle, being on the water.
I love the name Tuna Riot. That's perfect.
Free at sea. It's everything we all do.
Yeah.
Whether you dive, fish, surf, kind of like Salty Crew.
Yeah, exactly.
A little bit of a parallel.
Yeah.
But different. We also have a purpose behind what we're going to be doing. Hawaii, our Hawaiian division, what we want to do. Hawaii is such a special place. I was just in Kona not too long ago, and I've been there with my wife Maria and my stepkids. To me, Hawaii is almost like, the midriff.
Yeah.
It's just its own special place.
It is.
And the people are wonderful. The environment is, I like it better than Mexico.
Uh-huh.
The environment. Step off the plane, it's like, oh, man, this feels good.
Yeah.
The water's always 80 degrees.
Yep.
The fishing's incredible. I met some really nice people on my last stay. Larry and Valerie. We stayed at a really cool place. He took me fishing for Ono for wahoo. And my older son caught his first wahoo. I haven't even caught a wahoo yet.
Really?
I've never caught a wahoo.
Huh.
Yeah. So my older son caught a wahoo. We took it back. We all ate it with the neighbors.
Delish, aren't they?
God. Probably some of the best eating fish there.
Yeah, it is.
Besides toothfish or Chilean sea bass.
Yeah.
That's incredible, too.
Yeah. And leopard grouper.
Oh, God. Yeah. That is so good.
Yeah, I know.
That's so good. But Hawaii, our Hawaiian division, what we want to do is we want to manufacture there and get kids off of drugs. Hawaii's got a tough deal with drugs over there. We want to.
It seems like the whole country is screwed up with this fentanyl problem and everything else, right?
It's horrible.
Yeah.
But Hawaii's such a special place, and to be a kid growing up in Hawaii is
pretty special.
It's pretty special.
Yeah.
And to see drugs kind of get in the way of that. But we want to, even if it's a nonprofit there, we can make our money with Tuna Riot elsewhere.
Yeah.
Japan, Australia, the American market.
Yes.
Here in the States, right here locally. But we really want to benefit the people of Hawaii. Everything, all our profits from there are going to stay there.
That's admirable. And that's to help the youth? It's
to help the youth. It's to help keep, my buddy Pete, my partner Pete Thompson, he's an ex-pro surfer. He knows a lot of the people in Hawaii. So giving back to the Hawaiian community is huge. And it's...
Is there a drug problem with the youth more... It's worse than it is elsewhere in the United States?
Yeah.
It sounds like it's a real problem.
It's a problem.
Yeah.
It is a problem. I mean, my buddy Pete, he's seen, up-and-coming pro surfers just get involved and just fall right off. Have big sponsor endorsements with big surf companies. I can't name anybody, but these kids would fall off, get involved with drugs, and these companies would just say, hey, you're out. What Pete and I want to do is get these kids involved, say, hey, you guys are doing great, and reward them for doing the right thing.
Yeah.
For staying off drugs and progressing through your life. And if they ever reach a point where they get involved with drugs, we're going to go out and go find them. We're going to help them.
That's great.
We're not just going to let them fall off. And it's important to Pete and myself to give something back. And I think Hawaii is a perfect place to do it.
Gerry, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Good job, man.
Yeah.
More kids need a hand up every once in a while,
Absolutely.
Especially in given today's circumstances.
Today's
where
tough.
families are not as tight.
Today's tough for kids.
Yeah.
It's a lot different than what it used to be.
Yeah.
You know, I'm thankful. I'm very tight with my boys and my stepkids. I love them all dearly, and I think we're all lucky, you know, that we're where we're at.
Absolutely,
You know what I mean? And we all have each other. So I think once you get involved to a point and you fall off and you don't have that support, and it's scary. It's a big world, and you can easily lose yourself. You know?
Absolutely.
We don't want that.
You do a lot of tournaments, right? Or you do some tournaments?
I run the Saltwater Bass Series,
okay,
which is sand bass, calico bass, spotted bay bass.
Yeah.
From basically Long Beach to San Diego.
Is that, do you know a guy named Dave Dodge?
I know Dave Dodge.
Has he won that thing a few times?
You know what?
He told me he won
that was back in the day during the Western Outdoor News tournament.
Yeah.
I think he might have fished a few SWBA tournaments back in the day.
He told me he won, or I forget. I don't want to get him in trouble because maybe I got it wrong. 4 out of 5 or something.
Well, Western
like that.
Outdoor News
Dave.
They used to put on tournaments where you could fish live bait.
Right.
And yeah, Dave did really well. And
he's a good fisherman.
He's a great fisherman.
Yeah.
But he's a live bait guy.
Yeah.
I think he knows how to throw artificials too.
Yeah.
But he's a great fisherman. He's kind of the old school.
He's old school, Gerry. He took my friend Will Eversman and I, this was several years ago. He had no electronics on a boat. So he ran out and he literally was doing bearings.
Was he landmarking stuff?
Yeah, he was doing bearings.
That's like the Pongueros in Mexico.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Dude, he anchors, right? And then he goes, hang on, let me, and he has like a torpedo sinker, like an 8-ounce torpedo. And he goes, let me find the structure. He starts casting, and he goes, oh, there it is, right there. And it was literally 10 feet off our stern. And we start and you know, no electronics, nothing. Freaking impressed, man.
Yeah.
I used to fish with him with my kids when he ran the Southern Cal, go twilight fishing. So that's got to be 20 years ago, maybe a little more. And just great fisherman. So
he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Good dude.
So how do we get in your tournaments, and when are they? And give us some details about that.
I run the Saltwater Bass Series.
Yeah.
It's all catch and release, 2-person teams. I run a Masters division, which is primarily experienced tournament anglers. And then I run what I call a rookie family division, which is teams, whether it's buddies, husband, wife. You know, we have Tom and Val Hansis. They fish husband, wife.
Oh, right.
We had Chris and Romina Kieran as husband, wife. A lot of father-son teams. I have one father-son team. Adam and Justin Larson, they're San Diego-based team. Adam, the father, used the series to keep Justin, his son, doing well in school.
Oh, great.
He said, hey, dude, you do good in school, we'll fish the tournaments.
Oh, nice.
So it's been really, really good as far as, you know, some great bonding time with, you know, whether you're fishing, you know, father-daughter, father-son, brother-brother. We have brother teams too. It's awesome in that rookie family division. Price difference, Masters teams all in with options, $250, $150 for the rookie family.
Nice.
Team. If the father's got to, you know, soak up the expense for his son, it's $150 is a lot more affordable than $250.
Yes.
So I'm basically running 2 events in one.
Okay.
Rookies family division guys fish against rookie family teams. Masters teams only fish against Masters teams. So I'm literally running 2 events in one.
And how many of those a year? 4 or 5, did you say?
I do 5 regular season events, January, February, March, April, May. And then I do a 2-day championship tournament in June. And every year I try to rotate the events from San Diego to Long Beach. You know, this year I did what I did San Diego, Long Beach, and then I kind of rotated the next year. The championship last year was in Mission Bay. This year it's going to be South Shores Lawn Trip here in Long Beach.
Right.
So I rotate that. I try to keep it fair between San Diego and Long Beach guys. I have guys driving as far as from Goleta, Brian Davis and Whitney Ueda. They both live up there.
Oh, I know Whitney.
Yeah. Super good guy.
Yeah.
Whitney's a great guy.
Yeah.
So they fish the series.
You know, his brother, I think his brother is here all the time. He's back there making...
is he?
Yeah. What's his name? Dino. Yeah, Dino.
Okay.
Yeah,
very
that's crazy.
cool.
What a small world.
It is a small world.
Yeah.
So championship I give away. Now, I modeled my series like the freshwater events. All I did was fish freshwater events, and the year-end goal is to go and fish a championship and try to win the boat.
Yeah.
Well, the series, we haven't quite gotten big enough to give away a boat yet. That's coming, though. That's my goal.
It is?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And we average 50 to 60 teams.
Wow.
100 to 120 guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Even with COVID, we're still averaging just under 60 teams.
Excellent.
So I think once COVID's done and goes away, we're going to be 70, 75 teams.
And what kind of prizes can you expect to win?
Good God. Well, in the championships or the events themselves?
Well, but let's talk both. Let's talk the
in the events, what I do with my sponsors, now I have a huge list of sponsors: Mercury Marine, Daiwa, Traeger Grills, AFCO, Costa Del Mar, West Coast Trailers, the Big Hammer Lures. The list goes on. I've got all the best in the industry involved with the series. Been fortunate to have great support from all of them. My tournaments, Big Fish gets Daiwa rod and reel, each division. So 2 rod and reel here, rod and reel here. Costa Sunglasses, Big Fish. Option monies are 100% paid out. I pay 80%. I retain 10% for the year-end championship, which I give away a Mercury 115 4-stroke motor.
Jeez.
I give away Traeger grills. I was giving away trips to Cedros. Motor Guide, Great White, trolling motor. I'm probably forgetting a ton of stuff. Igloo coolers. Igloo's a big sponsor of the series. I just did a photo shoot the other day with those guys, and they give away, we're giving away tons of stuff. Lowrance Electronics jumped in this year, so thanks to Lowrance, we're giving away a couple of high-end units, 9-inch
That's
screens,
fantastic.
HDS Live, Elite TIs. So much stuff I give away at the championship. Championship's the big draw. That's like the carrot hanging at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to make it to the championship. It used to be the winning team won the motor, but now that I have 2 different divisions, every event you fish, you get a raffle ticket. If you prepay for the season, you get 2 extra raffle tickets. So 5 events, prepay, that's 7 tickets.
Oh, wow. I
also have incentives for people to purchase sponsor-involved product. If they buy stuff from AFCO, if they buy stuff from Igloo, if they buy stuff from Daiwa, they buy a Traeger grill, they get more raffle tickets.
Oh, that's great. So your sponsors are happy. And
it works so good. It's the best thing ever. So at the year-end championship, now I just raffle that motor off.
Oh, wow.
I give away a 115 4-stroke motor. You could be in the rookie family division and finish in last place in the championship.
And still
go home with a $10,000 motor.
Yeah, because the other way, it's like the guy that catches all the fish all the time is going to get it every time. This way, everybody's got a shot.
Yeah. And the reality is, having fished tournaments, freshwater and saltwater tournaments my whole life, you always see the same good teams walking away with the money.
Right.
The last 3 tournaments I fished in San Diego, freshwater bass tournaments. Yesterday I fished with my son. Well, we donated again to the guys that are really tough to beat down there.
Yeah.
You really gotta pre-fish a lot to beat these guys. Yesterday my son and I, we had the best day ever. We had so much fun. We didn't win tournament. We didn't even cut a check, but we had a hell of a great time. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And but I see that some of the best teams, you can't have them winning and taking everything
all the
because
time.
What happens is the new guys come in, they're like, I just write the check to these guys.
Yeah, right.
And I want everyone to have a great experience. My job as a tournament director is to provide a great time and a good experience for everybody. And having 2 different divisions, Masters Division, Rookie Family, the Rookie Family Division, it cuts the learning curve big time. They see where these Masters guys are fishing, and they kind of put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
And then they hear them talking after the events. Now, we haven't had any gathering after the last few events.
COVID.
Yes.
Yeah.
But normally speaking, the gang from Traeger comes, huge barbecue, tri-tip sandwich, whatever it is.
Yeah.
We have a big bar. Everybody's conversing, having a soda or 2, and you listen and you talk, and you hear how the winning teams are catching their fish. It cuts the learning curve so much. It's incredible. All the Rookie Family Division teams are benefiting big time from this.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And the championship is
so fun.
Yeah, I bet, huh? Does it have that electricity in the air feel to it?
It's very special because what happens is we spend, day 2, I get the teams out, sound the horn, all the events are shotgun starts.
That's cool.
We do it safely. We stage everybody up. Hey, if you're going to run left, stage to the left. Rookie Family team stage back. I'll let the Masters out, and then the Rookie Family teams go out after. So we do it safely, but the sound of the horn and hitting the throttle is exciting,
Of course, yeah.
It's
shotgun
crazy.
starts are
Shotgun starts.
fantastic.
Only way to go.
Yeah.
So Anyway, I'm kind of losing my mind on
No,
that
no,
one.
no.
But,
This is all good, man.
Yeah, super fun. But
And how do we get information on this? How do we sign up for it?
you can go.
I can't believe you're not fishing in this
you
more
can,
often,
you
Steve.
can go to I have a website, saltwaterbassseries.com.
Okay.
On Facebook, it's Saltwater Bass Series. Instagram is at Saltwater Bass Series 20. So there's ways to reach out. You can get a hold of me on my personal website for my charter business. Is www.catchmorebass.com, which is actually the home to all Harbors charters. I've had my .com Catch More Bass for 20 some years now,
Wow.
and I'm not getting rid of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Somebody told me, "Oh, dude, that thing's probably worth a lot of money." Well, guess what?
You're keeping it.
I'm the only CatchMoreBass.com guy there is. So.
Yeah, right.
So I'm keeping it. Yeah. But yeah, there's ways to get a hold of me. And anybody ever has any questions, text me, email me. My contacts are on all the websites and stuff. Email me.
Yeah, you're a very popular guy because, I didn't know you before today. And part of the reason why I reached out to you was because somebody went on our YouTube channel and we just started growing this and says, hey, you need to get... And
I wonder who that person was.
I should have had I wish I would have looked before this show.
That's funny.
Maybe somebody can look right now. But there was a comment and said, you got to get Gerry Mahieu on here. And man, they were right, because you're not only a fountain of information, but you got such enthusiasm for the sport. And you see it as it's more than fishing. It's families coming together.
We all share the same thing. And it sounds so, it sounds so cliche, but it's the truth. I don't love fishing more than you. Nobody here loves fishing any more than anybody else. You either love fishing or you're just, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
There's really no in-betweens. So we all share this thing. We all go to sleep at night before a trip and imagine how the day is going to go. And
right.
we don't
Anxious.
get good sleep. And,
right.
You have a good day. We all know how that feels, whether you're in a tournament or just out on the half-day boat or the overnight boat. You come back successful. It's a great feeling. We all have had those days where fishing sucks and it's tough but you can't wait to get out and redeem.
Yeah.
We never lose that. We never lose that hunger to just go fishing.
Right.
I don't care what it is. When I was young and, I used to fish in the back. I used to fish in my parents' pool. I'd tie lures on. It didn't matter.
You and I are too much alike,
Put
dude.
a rod in my hand. I'm happy.
Yeah, I know. I used to do the same stuff, man.
Can't get enough.
Can't get enough. And we talked about this earlier, but fishing takes you to some of the most beautiful places on the face of the earth, right?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. Surf trips, fishing trips. I'm going to Lake Havasu tomorrow morning for a few days, and I can't wait to wake up super early in the desert. I can't wait to have a little bonfire under the desert night, and a million stars, and that's just one place.
All of that
you
stuff,
know what I
yeah.
mean? It all blends into this fantastic thing.
It does. Havasu, what's going on at Havasu right now?
Oh boy, that's
bass fishing's good now.
Oh yeah. Smallmouth bass, largemouth bass. It's all kind of getting going. It's super fun. I love my freshwater bass fishing. That's kind of my roots.
Yes, that's what got you kind of going, huh?
It really got me going. I mean, I've always, even before that, I was into it. But even before I got my driver's license, I was fishing in a bass club, and I always wanted to be a professional bass fisherman. And then I had my first child, my older one, who's 27 now, and I thought, okay, that ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, right.
I'm not going on the road. Can't go on the road and raise kids. The way you need to raise kids.
Right.
And that's perfectly okay with me. I mean, that's
it's the responsibility of having kids, right?
It's the way it goes.
Yeah.
And it's all good.
And it's rewarding, right?
I get to share it with them now.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I have friends. Aaron Martins. I remember he left California. And headed out to, I think he headed out to Alabama, and he set up camp there and raises his kids. His wife Leslie.
How's he doing? Okay.
He's doing good.
Good.
He's doing good. Jordan, his daughter, and Spencer, his son. Jordan and Aaron have fished with me, catching big white sea bass out here a few years ago, PV. That was really fun. But it's tough to raise a family like that, but you can do it.
Yeah.
If you've got good sponsors and you got good support, good support system, friends, family, sponsors, you can do it.
Well, Gerry, I got to tell you, this has been a remarkable podcast. I feel like you and I have so much in common. I have enjoyed the knowledge that I've gained from you, and you just have such a zest for life and for fishing and for the outdoors. And Man, it has been a pleasure, my friend.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Any
Appreciate it.
more contact info? You want to reemphasize that for people?
Yeah, the Saltwater Bass Series,
Yeah.
saltwaterbassseries.com, Saltwater Bass Series on Facebook, Saltwater Bass Series, or make that at Saltwater Bass Series 20 on Instagram. My own personal website, catchmorebass.com. You can get a hold of me. However you need to get a hold of me, whether it's for the tournament circuit, getting out on a charter, me getting on your boat to go kind of get you dialed in on that offshore stuff or inshore stuff. That's pretty much what I do. I'm very fortunate. I have a good support system for myself, and I get to be that guy. I'm very thankful. So, but I'm more than willing to share anything and everything I know. So.
Excellent. All right. Gerry Mahieu, everybody. What a great podcast it was with him. We thank you so much for joining us on another edition of Friedman Adventures. Just a reminder, subscribe to Friedman Adventures on YouTube. Click the little bell so I will show up at your house with a new show every single time that bell rings for you. And also follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Freshwater Bass Bros on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook. Gerry, one more time.
All right,
Thanks
buddy.
again, my friend.
You got it.
Good
Thank
stuff.
you.